with the Sports Talk on the Game Day Sports Network. We're here with Josh Burns. Guys, just give me 1 second.
Introducing you first, fighting out of the red corner. Tonight, he wears black. His official weight, 264.2 pounds. His bare-knuckle record stands at 6 victories opposite 2 defeats with 2 no contests. Fighting out of Detroit, Michigan, here is Josh the Hammer Burns.
Sorry about that. Little technical difficulties after introducing you. Tony, we'll turn it over to you, and we'll let you take control of the show.
Welcome, everybody. We're honored to be joined by Josh the Hammer Burns here on Game Day Sports Network. Josh, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Good. Thanks so much for doing this, man. You're from Detroit. We're a straight shot up I-75. Detroit's my favorite city, man. I love it. Whereabouts do you live in Detroit? What area?
I live, I used to live downtown Detroit. We just recently moved a little bit south to New Boston. Okay. So right by the airport.
Oh, that's great. Good for you.
Yeah.
Jay, go ahead. You want to get into it?
Yeah, Josh, some reason that the computer's frozen, but again, we still have you, and I'll fix that. When it comes to, you say, boxing, MMA, and now a lot of people have pushbacks on those sports. Now, bare-knuckle fighting. What do you say to people when it comes to what you're doing and how you got into that?
I just think it's probably one of the more purest sports that are out there right now, and got into it because anybody that's ever watched me fight knows I just like to throw hands, and I prefer people to stand. And this sport forces you to do that, where MMA, got thrown in there with some of the best in the world, and no one wanted to throw hands. So I like fighting this sport and get in there with some of the best in the world, and they have to stand and bang.
And the biggest thing is like I was going back looking at a little bit of history. The first bear say is really a new sport when it's only for 500 years, right?
Correct.
So, go ahead, Tony.
So Josh, for those of you that don't know, right, bare knuckle sports, BKFC, it's been around for a little bit, but it's the fastest growing sports in terms of pay-per-view sales in the U.S. currently. How did you get involved with BKFC? You have a pretty extensive path, fighting in Bellator, King of Cage, doing a lot of MMA stuff. How did you get involved with BKFC originally?
Actually, Dave and I knew each other for quite a while, for probably almost 7 years now. And when he was first trying to get it going and ran into a bunch of roadblocks, I was going to fight for him then, and ran into a lot of problems and people trying to shut it down. So what I did is, instead of staying idle, I went ahead and jumped the pond and went and got some experience in bare knuckle fighting over in Europe, and fought some of the best they had over there. That's where it originated, and a lot of tough guys, a lot of travelers, a lot of proper fighters, and definitely got my feet wet, and fell in love with the sport.
Now, you obviously got your feet wet in Bellator, and I would argue you didn't get a fair shake at Bellator at all, to be honest, but that's just my opinion. But that definitely gave you some exposure. It allowed you to get your name out there and become a little bit more. Any regrets with your time at Bellator? Do you wish it went a little differently, or were you okay with the career path you've chosen now?
Well, you know what? I try not to regret anything. So, at the end of the day, I was blessed and able to fight for Bellator. I ended up being the guy that they always called, within like 2 or 3 week notices, and I never got the cupcakes. And there's a lot of fighters that, fought for them that got relatively unknown fighters, and they did well. So, I chose my path, and it was what it was. I could have said no, but I'm just not that guy. So, when they called me to fight, hey, I'm going to fight.
Now, you mentioned David, he's the owner of BKFC. I give him a lot of credit because he really kind of stepped out of the comfort zone and tried to, and he's putting, it seems like he's putting a ton of money into this. The productions are unbelievable. You guys are getting, some outstanding fighters. Just talk about how you've seen BKFC develop so far and progress through your time there so far.
Well, it's definitely progressed, but Dave always wanted to do it right. He wanted to do it right from day one, and he's always had a great production. Has always, strive to have the best combat sports, production as possible. And now, as we progressed along, it's just become better and better. And the last one was Knucklemania, and I mean, there's no live fight, any sports, what I say, platform that's any better. Like, he put on a show the same as UFC would, the same as Bellator. It was a beautiful thing, and it's really exploding and getting a lot of traction here in the States. And I expect it to keep rising.
Yeah, I was really by the production value. You're right. It was unbelievable to see. So I understand that. I've watched it. I've seen it. If a lot of people probably wonder the difference between BKFC and bare knuckle fighting over MMA. Can you just take a couple seconds and explain the difference between the two and just how that works?
Well, obviously, MMA, you obviously have multiple facets to attack with. With BKFC, it is strictly hands only. We are allowed to dirty box. They actually promote dirty boxing, so they promote you to grab and dirty box, which is a beautiful thing. You also wear gloves in MMA. I believe they're 4-ounce gloves, and you get a lot of these MMA fighters that come in here and they go, "Oh, there's not much difference because." An MMA gloves is small, and I'm gonna tell you right now, anybody that sits there and tries to tell you that there is no difference, they're out their mind, or they're putting on some kind of show. At the end of the day, getting hit with a bare fist is completely different. You feel every shot, you're in there with the fight, and to me, it's a beautiful thing. So I love it, and it does a lot of checking of the heart. There's things that you're born with naturally, and there's a lot of fighters that are great boxers, great MMA fighters, but they have no heart. And they run into obstacles, and you see them pretty much quit. And in this sport, you're going to find out if someone has heart or not. And you can watch the BKFC, and that most people say, when you're drunk, you got the beer goggles on, and it's the truth serum, and it's the same thing here. This is kind of like the truth serum of combat sports. You're going to end up finding out who has that true heart and who does not, because you're going to find maybe the fighters like myself, that didn't fare as well in, Bellator, held my own, but didn't get to the top, but I had heart. And that's why they called me, 8 times, called me back on the main card every fight. And, I had heart, and I could take an ass whooping, simply put. So, in this sport, you allow me to utilize my strongest strength that I have, which is my hands. And now it's heart. So I'll punch you in the mouth. You punch me in the mouth. I'm not going to quit. I will not stop. And, a lot of guys go, "Oh, until I'm dead." But I'll be honest with you, I'm probably one of those guys that's not going to stop until, unless I killed over. It's just, and it's not even a pride thing. It's not like, "Oh, I'm Scottish and Irish and that's how I am." No, man, it's just who I am. You hit me with a bat, I'm just going to keep coming forward until I can't.
So it's no secret that your career so far in BKFC has been surrounded by people. I don't want to say people ducking you, but people definitely not wanting to give you a fair shake, or don't want to show up to their fights, or making excuses, or whatever it is. I mean, I don't want to put words in people's mouths, but that's just kind of the impression I was getting from some of the interviews and stuff that I saw with other people and things that were said. You left no doubt in your last bout. Obviously, right now you're the 3rd ranked heavyweight. Do you think you deserve that next title shot?
I do. I do believe I deserve it. And a lot of individuals had a conversation with an individual online yesterday, and he's able to turn his opinion as well, because he's like, "Oh, you only had one fight in the promotion. That doesn't deserve a title fight." And I laugh and I sit there and go, "Buddy, like, you realize I have over 10 bare knuckle fights, and I've been doing this for 6 years for the rest of these guys, even Joey Beltran, who's a great fighter. These guys don't have the experience I do and haven't been doing it as long." And so absolutely, I believe I'm the one. And you get that in every sport, where people avoid you, claim other reasons why, the fight wouldn't happen or this or that. And, you find in this sport as well, the guys know when you're going to fight somebody that can beat you, or probably is going to beat you, you find reasons not to show up, and then you hope for prayers and gifts, and sometimes it happens, and it don't matter to me. At the end of the day, my production and what I do is undoubted, and I will end up fighting for the strap. I will have that strap on my waist, and it's just a matter of time.
Have you heard anything from the promotion? I mean, obviously the heavyweight division is probably one of the most, if not the most popular division. It's got to be one of the top 2 or 3 most popular. I would assume that they would want to press that and push that. So have you heard anything?
I actually did. I heard from the matchmaker, Nate Shook, yesterday. Looks like I'm going to be pulled from the March card, and they're going to be putting me on the April card, which the April card will be the heavyweight champion card. And that's when Joey Beltran's supposed to be fighting Sam Shoemaker. If there becomes any type of hiccup, obviously I'll be the guy in fighting, in for the title myself. So, but it makes sense, and it'll be pretty much like an eliminator, a number 1 spot eliminator. So whoever wins my fight, is guaranteed a world title shot after.
Now, bare knuckle boxing, UFC, if you get 4 or 5 fights in a year in MMA or that's quite a few. Do you find that bare knuckle boxing would actually prolong your career?
As far as, concussive issues and with brain damage, absolutely, because this is really more of a superficial sport as far as damage is concerned. I fought for the world title over in Europe, and my nose was ripped off. I had the left side of my nostril ripped off. That was it. I had a cut. I mean, it looked bad, but I was still fighting, and wanting to fight, and fought the guy who I consider in the world right now to be the number 1 heavyweight in the world. His name's Mickey Terrell. And, I trained like a monster. I was ready, wasn't going to get tired. Like, I was in great shape. Just be one of those fights where you show up a little flat. And my problem with that was I showed up a little flat against the best guy in the world. And he took liberties the first 2 rounds and ripped my nose off, cut me. And, but you can watch that fight and you'll see I just never stopped coming forward. I'm still coming forward. It was just a little flat. So, as far as longevity, absolutely. I still believe I have 3 to 4 years left. Nate Shook jokes with me a lot saying I'm an old man, and, you got to take care of the old man, but at the end of the day, the reality is it's just like George Foreman, and this is boxing with George Foreman, but George Foreman, one of the oldest heavyweight champions of the world. And because as a man, the last thing you lose is strength. And what you need as a heavyweight is strength. I'm just blessed. I happen to have speed, which nobody realizes. The last fight, I wasn't in top physical shape as far as aesthetics. And that was just because of a simple thing. We knew Sorrow was coming in from a lighter division, claimed that he walked around, but we thought he was only going to be about 235. We didn't want any issues with the commission. So it was suggested that I go ahead and drop, because I usually walk around 275 and look pretty good. And I got into the middle. I was in good condition, but I was in the funky stage. So I was about 264, and I looked a little rounder and softer than I usually would. And with the damn pandemic, I can't get my pasty ass into no tanning bed, so I was white as a damn ghost, and didn't do me any favors.
Yeah, absolutely, that happens. One thing I've always wondered now, especially being a heavyweight, and this is something that goes through my head all the time when I watch fights, because I watch everything from boxing, MMA, bare knuckle. I'm into it all. And I'm curious, from a guy in your standpoint who's been in there with some of the best in the world, right before that bell rings and you step into that ring and you're looking across and it's either me or him, right? What emotions, what feelings do you have? Are you nervous? Are you scared? Are you excited? Like, what goes through? Because I just picture myself in there, how I would react, right? Like, what are the feelings right before you're about to hear that bell?
Well, it's actually a mix of feelings, and it actually starts in the back room. So the worst feeling is being one of the last fights of the night, because you have to sit there and you got to watch everybody else warm up, go out, warm up, go out, and you're sitting back there just laying down, chilling, trying to keep your mind at ease, and everything goes through your head. Everything, for me, it's everything positive, everything negative. The entire time you're battling back and forth. Your guts are going. You're getting bubble guts, and at the closer it gets to walkout time, and they come back, go, okay, Josh, you're on in 5. Let's go. You get up there, you start walking there, and then you really got, for me, I get jello legs. So my legs kind of get a little loose, and Coleman's usually with me, and Mark's just like, slap it out, baby, slap it out. So do the old wrestling, slap my legs out, wake them up. And as you walk to the ring, the closer you get, the more the doubt goes away. And by the time you're getting wiped, you're getting greased up, your cage side, it's time. Your mind's focused. You get up, walk up in the ring, and as soon as I step inside that ring, nothing but destroying who's in front of me. And in my mind, I'm just paying attention to what they do to see how quick I can put them to sleep. Put them to sleep.
Now, you've talked about Mark Coleman quite a bit. Obviously, Mark Coleman's fairly well known. Just talk a little bit about that relationship, about the gym that you train at, just the supports that you have around you, and just about your team. Just talk a little bit about them, if you don't mind.
Yeah, well, just very blessed to have Mark. He's like a big brother to me, and he's been in my corner my whole career. And we're both from Ohio, Ohio State, down Columbus, and that's where we first started. Became super close, obviously out in Vegas with Kevin Randleman, myself, Wes Sims, Brandon Hinkle. We're a real tight team. Hammer House is a very tight team, and we're very close. And it's great to have that experience and have a legend in your corner. And he don't play. You can hear him, and when I fought, you can hear him. He jumped on me in between rounds because I had taken about 16 months off, so it was my first fight. I was playing it safe that first round with Sorrow because they did say he hit hard, and as soon as I found out that wasn't really true, then I'd start loosening up a little bit. But you could hear Coleman in the corner tell me, stop effing around and throw your damn hands, and as soon as that second round started, you heard him. He's like, let's go, JB. And as soon as he said it, the next thing you see is, I throw pretty much a 6-punch combination, triple jab, another little jab, and then a hook, and then a 2. So, having those guys in my corner, and a guy like Victor Torres from Victorious MMA, that's where I go and get my boxing training. Okay. And, he's been in my corner this on and off my whole career. But with this bare knuckle, he's really been there. And, he's just there. Right. We had all this COVID crap. And this was the guy that opened his gym just for me, so we weren't violating anything, but I could come train and he would work with me. And, just great to have that, and it's all about your team. You're only as good as your team is, and I've got a huge supporting cast surrounds me, and they all come train with me. Jason Fish, he's part of the BKFC as well. I got my big boy Dingo, who he should be fighting, but I don't know if he's gonna fight anymore, but he's just a 6'8" monster. Yeah. So I'm surrounded by a lot of great fighters and little guys, to be honest. A lot of people think the heavyweights are just banging it out every day. Actually, for the smart heavyweights, they're not banging it out every day. They're working with 190-pound guys that just pepper the crap out of you and make you get quicker on your feet and teach you how to throw your hands and protect yourself. Yeah. And so that's pretty much my team. And then obviously my girl is my backbone. Puts up with all my BS and is there for me, supports me, and makes my meals and makes sure that my clothes are done. And she works full time, but yet she still takes care of me. So that's a blessing in itself.
That's great. Now, it's no secret, obviously, you're in your early 40s. So, do you find it more difficult to train and the motivation factor, or is that still there for you? I mean, clearly you still have that drive. I see you on social media. I see you fighting, and it's clearly still there. But what motivates you? What gives you that push to do this and to really go at it every day?
Well, really, to be honest with you, is it's not the money, it's not the fame. It's I want to solidify, my legacy. And by doing so, now when we all get a little bit older, a little bit smarter, and I was speaking on it earlier about being a heavyweight, you need that power. It's the last thing you leave. And as a heavyweight, that's what you need. And I just believe the intelligence, I think it's all timing. The timing's come together at the right time. I've got Mark always in my ear chirping every day, hey, clock's ticking, JB, the clock is ticking. And it's motivation enough, seeing my kids are getting older and they can see what their daddy's doing. And, Lord willing, I've been successful and continue to be successful. And they just see what hard work does. And to be honest with you, we're in the time of day and age that we're not old school no more. Really, if you're 40, it don't mean shit. That don't mean you're old. And if you're smart and your nutrition, your health, how to work smarter, not harder, and you're efficient, you have talent, you can prolong your career for a while. So, and that's basically where I'm at, and it's not hard for me to get up every day. I do 2 days, do my thing and find the drive every day.
And sorry to interrupt, Tony. I'll use a little bit different situation, but look at last month with Mike Tyson at 50 years old, right?
Right.
Even though I'm saying I know it was still a promo fight and everything else, but the man dropped 100 pounds at that age to still get in the ring and still, even though it's still a promo, still battled it out who's 10 years older than you, right?
Absolutely. And, it has a lot to do, I believe it also has to do, with your surrounding cast. And I have a strength and conditioning coach I didn't just talk about that. I'm sitting there thinking like he's the reason. Garen Clark from F3 Fitness, like that guy is a damn, I call him a mad scientist. And he puts me through stuff, but he doesn't break me. He puts me through stuff that's scientifically sound, that he's done the research and the legwork on, and kick the holy hell out of me every day. But I perform better, and I do better ever since I've been with him. And he's been with me. Garen Clark's been with me my entire bare-knuckle career. And matter of fact, he even went with me to London for my world title fight. So I was in premier shape. It was just, that was the mental lapse on my part. But you learn every fight. I've only lost twice. I know I had a bad separation with BKB. They got upset that I went to BKFC. So, they took down all my wins, all 6 wins, and then left up the 4. Two of them are no contest, but they obviously put on there that they were losses. But then one was a cut above the eyebrow from a fingernail with Tony Johnson, and then the other one was a straight eye gouge. And we have all the medical term, and we're just like, you know what, we're just gonna move on, move forward, learn from it, be better, and we're doing that right now. So BKFC, we're 1-0, and we're planning on getting that strap.
Love it. No, with BKFC and bare knuckle fighting, I know that there are a lot of the matches have been taking place in Florida, that area.
Yeah.
I mean, no secret that there's a massive MMA following in Michigan and a boxing bare knuckle. Is there any chance of them coming up to Michigan and putting on a show, or does it have to do with legislation? Is it legal? I'm not even sure about the rules with that, but yeah, I know that other people were asking about that, so I just wanted to see if you had an answer.
Well, to be honest, it's Michigan was always the stepchild with MMA and boxing. We were one of the prime guys, just like Philly. We're known for pumping out fighters, and MMA we've always been the stepchild. We're always latecomers. Now we got a bunch of people in UFC, but what is that? 15 years after it came out, so no one's ever really given Michigan a big shot, and I think that Dave's going to definitely would like to have it here. And as we started to get traction and progression, this damn pandemic hit. And when that hit, that changed the landscape. Right now, it's changing forever. As of right now, nothing is the same. So I know that Dave would absolutely want to have it in Ohio, Michigan, want it up here because you got a lot of fans, you got a lot of excitement. So I wouldn't cut that out of the books. I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. Just don't know how quick, with everything trying to get back to what we consider some type of normalcy.
That's great. So your next fight's in April, you said, or that's when you're hoping for as of now?
No, it's guaranteed. I got a fight in April. We don't have an opponent yet. And, so the way it was explained to me was you're going to fight there. And because no matter what happens, when you fight, you get, even if I knock you out in 30 seconds, I get a mandatory 30-day suspension. So if I were to fight in March, I wouldn't be able to fight. I wouldn't be able to step in if someone stepped out of the Beltran fight.
Yeah.
So essentially putting me on that card just makes 100% sense, because if something happens, I can step in. And if nothing happens, they continue to fight, then I fight the number one mandatory fight. I'll be the number one mandatory fight. Then I can confront the winner out of them two, and it's on.
Do you have anyone in mind? Put you on the spot a little bit, but do you have anyone that you'd like to? Is there anyone that you'd really like to face?
Well, I believe it's Joey Beltran. So I think Joey. I don't think Sam will have the answers, but Sam's always got a puncher's chance. But at the same time, he's not proven that. They like to risk their hats, on this hitting the pad. It's the hardest pad they've ever hit. And, I always joke about it. I go, yeah, it's kind of like the guys that go to the damn fairground, hit the punch machine, like, oh, little 150-pound guy hits harder than me. The reality is we get in a fight, I'm going to kill you. So, I don't give a shit what no damn pad tells somebody. Proof's in your body of work. So his body of work is shitty. Let's just be honest. And I love Sam. He's a great guy. I'm not talking about him as a man. I'm talking about his knockout ratio. Okay. He, Bobo's a friend of mine. He beat Bobo, but let's be honest, Bobo didn't even fight that damn fight. If Bobo would have stood in front of me the same way he stood in front of Sam, trust me, I would have ripped his head off the Sam's shoulders within 30 seconds. And Bobo and I both agree on this. Bobo came out flat, didn't try to fight with his face, and it made no damn sense. So at the end of the day, when you have less than a 40% knockout ratio, I have a 100% finish ratio. Okay, you understand? 100%. Every fight I fought, nothing's gone over 3 minutes, and I've literally knocked out every guy. So my only 2 losses was my debut. I went over there and fought a hell of a fighter in Harry Miles, and I was a little under the weather, but being a fighter, I don't pull out of fights. So I flew 15 hours to get over there. I'm fighting, and I lost the decision. It is what it is. You learn from it. You move forward. And the only other fight I lost would be with Mickey Terrell, and that's right now I consider him the #1 pound-for-pound heavyweight bare knuckle fighter in the world. And I'm pretty sure Dave's in the works right now, getting his big ass over here, and that's a fight that I would like to get back. So after I get this strap, that's somebody I'm going to be calling out.
Awesome. Jay, you got anything else for Josh?
Yeah, Josh, and not asking for specifics, but for you and for guys and women at your level, is it full time comparable? I know it's not financially like MMA right now, like UFC, but is it a full time job for you and people at the level you're at?
It is a full-time job for me, but I've been at the highest level for a bit. And even if the paychecks from the fights are only sustainable for, a half a year or something like that, as a fighter, you find outside avenues, which are sponsors. So if you're a true professional athlete, you're finding multiple avenues to live. So I do run a club here in Detroit. That is my residual income that I do outside, but it is full-time. I do 2 days every day, 6 days a week, and I do take the 1 day off. So, but yeah, it's for other people. I had people hit me up recently asking me, oh, I'm going to quit my job and I'm becoming a fighter. And I go, oh, I'll tell you what, how about we keep your regular job, get something that's advantageous for what you're going to be doing, so it doesn't interfere with your training, your nutrition, and things of that nature, and then continue your job, fight, and once you hit that stride where you're like, you know what, I can do something different, then that's when you do it.
And the thing is with you guys can go after any sponsor you want, right? And I'm not trying to compare you to the UFC, but when they signed Reebok, it really cut their throats. So for you, if I knock on your door and say I want to sponsor you, you can take any sponsor you want, right? That
is correct, absolutely. And I have buddies that live fighting the UFC, and there's a reason why guys are jumping boat from UFC. And Bellator right now is the most, to be quite honest, is the most profitable organization to fight for MMA-wise, because they allow you to keep your sponsors. They pay you just as good as the UFC does, but they don't handcuff you and stick you with a crap-ass Reebok thing where you fought 5 times for them and you only get $5,000. That's your total sponsorship that you're allowed to bring into the ring. It's a joke. So, and God bless, I love Dana White. I know him. He's a good guy. This is all business for them, but it's not good business for the fighter. So
but that was totally, like you say, it was business, right? It was in their pockets, not the fighters, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you can look that up pretty much anywhere and see the ratio breakdown of how Reebok works. It's disgusting. It's disgusting, 100%. So, these guys get in there, even if they've only fought once or twice, they're going to get $1,500. That's all you can have. You can't bring anything else in there with you. And there's not a lot of people that are going to sponsor you outside of it, unless you're a big name that you can do promotional stuff for. So if you're a no-name guy, you're trying to get your name out there, you're limited. And, what's great with Dave doesn't do that to you. Getting held. Dave just goes, you know what? Do what you want to do. Make sure it's proper. It's not disrespectful, foul language, that kind of thing. Bring it in. And, guys like myself, this is, I would say, the majority of our income is from our sponsors. And, I'm wearing it now, True American Savage. These guys right here. One of my high school buddies made a brand. It's taken off, and it's a beautiful thing. And, it allows me to do things like that on camera, off camera, in the fight, and what have you.
Now, while we're on that topic, do you want to mention all your sponsors, if you can think of them all?
Well, I'm just going to talk about True American Savage, because I do get hit in the head a lot. So, but no, I have Fire Savvy. They've been with me since day one. Fire Savvy's been with me since day one. Darren Clark with F3 Fitness, they've been with me since day one. True American Savage, that's my buddy Jason Riley. He used to be a professional fighter as well, fought in Strike Force and heavyweight, great fighter. And let me think, Latham Law Attorneys. They've always been with me. So, and that's pretty much all I'm going to remember. I know I have a bunch more, but right now that's what I can remember.
That's great.
And we'll find out about it, and we'll post them down below for everybody after the interview, so that they can get some recognition also.
Right on.
Absolutely. Well, Josh, listen, man. I mean, I could talk to you all day. I really appreciate you coming on. I'm going to give you one last chance. If there's anything else you want to say, if there's anything you want to get off your chest, this is your opportunity, and then I'll wrap up with you. So go ahead. Anything else you have to say?
No, man. I just not really a glory hound, you know. So you guys can find me on all social media platforms, usually under Josh Burns. But I got a hashtag going right now. It's Burns versus Beltran BKFC. Need to get that bad boy trending. It's the fight the world wants to see. You know, like I said, it's no disrespect to anybody they're going to put in front of Sam, next, but it should be me. I had fights. There's reasons why my fight was changed. I had to get Sorrow because other things weren't working with other fighters, and we had multiple attempts at it. So it sure as hell, I can just say I'm an old school fighter. I'm going to show up sick. I'm going to show up healthy. It don't matter. I fight. That's what I do for a living. So you're never going to a fight 100%, and I've always shown up. So that's why I was given the Sorrow fight. Took care of him pretty damn quick. And now Joey, and Joey knows. Joey and I, we have a pretty decent relationship. We're not best friends, but we have a respectful, rapport. And Joey knows what's up. Joey says it too. So he knows. And the best want to fight the best. I didn't get in this sport to pad my record, to fight a bunch of, Chris Sorrows. That's not what I've done. I go for the best. And, sometimes they're going to throw somebody at you, and, you got to just get rid of them real quick and then just jump for the best. There's no reason why I'd ask for anyone else beside the world champion. That is Joey Beltran. It's going to be a hell of a fight. Great. I basically market it like this. The Joey Beltran Josh Burns fight is this. It's the Ali Foreman fight. Throw in Manila. Okay. You've got Ali, who's got this crazy ass conditioning, and you got this crazy ass power horse in Foreman. Okay. Who's going to win? Power conditioning. And guess what? We're in a sprint sport. We're not in a 15-round boxing sport where Foreman didn't get knocked out. Foreman punched himself out and fell over out of fatigue. Okay. That's not going to happen to me. Okay. I hit hard from round 1 to round 5 to the last second. Joey Beltran has fucking conditioning from round 1 to round 5. No problem whatsoever. And Joey don't hit like a girl. Joey hits pretty good. But the difference between us, I think, is pretty obvious. So it's a great fight. Who's going to win? And if it does go 5 rounds, damn well we're both going to be boogered the hell up. But I think it's one of those fights that I'm able to walk out victorious. And if I don't, there's no shame, and I'll be going out on my shield. And I know I'm going to break something on Joey, and I'm pretty sure Joey's going to booger me up pretty good. So it's just a hell of a fight. It's a fight people want to see. They don't want to see someone that's boring, who gets split decision wins and has a horrible KO ratio, who nobody gives a shit about. Okay. You want somebody that's going to bring a fight. Now, there's no disrespect to anybody, because you never know. They could bring a fight. But I'm not working on hypotheticals. I'm working on factual shit. So I'm a power horse, factual. Joey Beltran's a fucking workhorse, factual. We're the two best in the sport. Mark Godbeer left. Okay. There's nobody else. It's Joey and I. The rest of these guys can get in line, but that's my opinion, and I'm going to stick to it.
Now, sorry, Tony. When it comes to, I know COVID screwed everything up, but I use right now on an average, if we were to go to a fight, again, us Canadians can't go and watch it right now, but if we were to go watch a fight and be at the actual event, what are the use of this right now? These type of fights average when it comes to fans?
As far as how many fans?
Yeah.
Oh boy. So
I know. Sorry, with live streaming now, it's huge. But I mean, in a building, what are you drawing on an average right now, or what Dave does?
Well, I'm looking at probably, I think it's like between 4,000 to 6,000, depending on the venue, because they have limited seating. I'm telling you, if we didn't have the COVID restrictions, those places would be packed. Yeah, they would be packed, because I'm pretty sure we're not supposed to have as many people that we have in the building, but for some reason they allow it. So. But it is a packed house, and and it's crazy how loud and how involved these fans are. It's not like the MMA fans or just the boxing fans. It's a combination of them all. And the difference between this sport and MMA. MMA is great, and you got a lot of stuff going. It's an honorable sport. Boxing, same thing. But when you're at a bare knuckle fight, when I crack somebody in the face and you hear that bone crack, like it just, the whole crowd just like, when you hear the oohs and ahs, they're real, because it's a disgusting, amazing sound, because it's bone cracking bone, and it's the entire fight. So whether it lasts a minute or it lasts 10 minutes, you're hearing it, you're seeing it, and it's a beautiful thing. And the fans are, they're the real winners in this. The fans are the real winners. I'm, as a fighter, I fought in Bellator 8 times, and never did I go out and watch the fights. It is what it is. Hell, half the time I don't even turn on UFC unless it's guys I know. Yeah. And when I was at the bare-knuckle fight back in Biloxi, I came out because I wanted to see it. You could hear the cracks in the background. I'm in the back room, and I'm going out there just seeing, like, God, who just got hit? You know, you're running out there like a little kid trying to see who's getting their ass whooped. And it's just a whole different vibe. And I think that's what's taking traction right now. I think that's what's taking over the world. And you watch, by year's end, we're going to be another whole level ahead of where we're at now.
I couldn't agree more.
Go ahead. I'll go ahead, Tony, and I'll ask my last question.
He's got to get to the gym here soon. Yep. So last question for you from me. So obviously Paige Van Zandt, very well-known, popular fighter in the UFC. Her coming over to bare-knuckle boxing, and guys like Chris Lieben and Gabriel Gonzalez and these bigger name people, what's your take on that? Are you okay with them coming over because it kind of brings more fans and brings more awareness, or would you like to see them have to work their way up a little bit better?
No, well, hell no. There's nothing to work for. None of them got a title fight. They all had to get in there and fight. Now, if they come in there have an amazing performance, they get pushed up the ladder because, Jesus, they've already had a great resume in another tough sport. But, you know, just like Paige found out, Paige is a tough son of a gun. I'm going to tell you right now, I thought Britain didn't have a chance in the world. That's my opinion. And I have friends that train ATT. They were like, yo, watch, Paige is going to kill this girl. Paige got in there. It's a whole different world. We fight with no gloves, and Paige was the first one to go, oh, it's just not much different from gloves. You know, we have forearms. Bullshit. You found that out real quick because she became very hesitant. She made very hesitant, and she didn't get comfortable until maybe round 3, 4, and then she was able to turn it on 5. But by that time, Britt had pieced your ass up the entire fight. And trust me, I was pulling for Paige. I thought Paige was going to win. My girl loves Paige, and that's who. And I'm sitting there looking at her, looking at my girl, going, she's losing this fight. Britt's winning this fight. So, and then Gonzaga and those guys, hey, great. We want you. Come, because if you got what it takes, bring it, and bring your fans with you. That's what we want. And if you don't have what it takes, you're gonna find out real quick. You know, just like Antonio Silva, Bigfoot or whatever. You know, that guy realized he wasn't about it. Now he's a big puncher in the UFC, right? And Gabriel, everyone, he had that head kick, but Gabriel's not really known for being a big puncher. Well, guess what? Gabriel done beat that ass and respected himself and dropped that boy. So the pretenders are going to be found out, and the real warriors are going to be come out and be shown. So it's a beautiful thing. I welcome everyone. Please come, and I want the challenge, because when I get done getting the strap, I'm going to want some real challenge. We've got some pretty damn good heavyweights right now that are not proven, you know. And the biggest thing for me is, you know, before my last fight, the guy looked great in all his other fights, but the problem was, you look at it and you go, okay, great, you could punch somebody. What happens when you get punched? What happens when you get punched? And I could be, you know, we don't know. I'm not a fortune teller, but that was our big thing. And that was my big thing. As I said, I've been doing this 6 years, and, you know, you get people, there's some people in the heavyweight division, won't name names. They're like, oh, you're a gatekeeper. You got a 500 record. I'm like, well, if you want to go off of what the Europeans trying to get by, and you can obviously tell, because you can't find all 6 of my wins have been taken down, but they don't want to leave up the controversy. So there's some truth there. So you keep believing what you believe. But I'm telling you right now, none of these heavyweights been hit by a real heavyweight that fights the way I do. And Sorrow, unfortunately, was the first one to find out. He got a little bit goofy before the fight. He put a little more emphasis on the reason why I wanted to hurt him a little more. But he found out real quick. There ain't no gatekeeper here, bro. I'm gonna tell you right now. You get in there with me, I'm gonna put that ass whooping on you. And if you, God bless you, if you can keep it and keep fighting, you're the man. But I have yet to find anybody that I can put these hands on where I'm feeling great that can withstand it. Only 2 guys, Harry Miles, my very first fight, and then Mickey Terrell, you know, and like I said, those were learning experiences for me, but you're not going to get an easy fight with me.
Yeah. So, Josh, just to close it out, I know you have to go train. What would it be like to have you and Joey fight at Little Caesars Arena in Michigan if you could do it? How would that be in your hometown?
How would it be? It'd be pretty damn amazing. I mean, Joey's got fans across the world, so I know he's got fans here in Michigan, and obviously this is my home, so I got a shit ton of fans here. It would be a wild, wild event because we don't have to disrespect one another to know there's going to be a fight. So Joey and I are going to go out and beat the dog shit out of each other, and I think I'm going to win. Joey thinks she's going to win, and we both have our reasons, our little secrets in our camps of what we'll do, and it would be a pretty amazing event. And I'm pretty damn sure if this damn COVID stuff go away, it'd be a sellout. It would be a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Well, Josh, I got to tell you, man, when I reached out to you, I wasn't sure if I'd hear back, and it just speaks to you as a person, your character, everything you've said has been straight up, and I can't tell you how much we appreciate you taking the time to do this and talk to us. It means a lot. I'm telling you, you're going to gain a whole whack load of fans up here in Canada now. And, and this is just going to take BKFC to the next level and take your career to the next level. And we just can't wait to see what you have to offer. And man, I'm telling you, when you get that strap, I might send you another message and see if you can come on and show it off to us because you definitely deserve it. And again, can't thank you enough, man. And you got a lot of support up here in Canada. So best of luck, and we really appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely, guys. I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity, and I love my family to the north. So any more fans from up there, God bless you guys. I can't play hockey to save my life, but I'll do the damn track.
That's awesome, man. Thank you so much, Doc. You take care.
Right on, guys. All right, guys. Have a good one.